What it do, Savage Family? Today we back with another video, man. We back with another video. A Hamilton County deputy was ran over, man, by a dude killing his son, man. Retaliation. He said the first cop he seen, he was gonna run him down. We finna get into this video. Sad situation. Let's get into it, Savage Family.
Coming on the air here with breaking news, the man accused of intentionally hitting and killing retired Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson is about to appear in court. I'm Stephen Albritton.
And I'm Megan Mitchell. 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. faces charges of aggravated murder. Prosecutors say this was an act of retaliation after Hinton Jr.'s son was shot and killed by a Cincinnati police officer.
This morning's hearing will determine if Hinton Jr. can be held without bond. The judge has just sat down in the seats. Let's listen in live as the hearing is set to begin momentarily.
And Rule 12 of the Rules of Superintendents of the Supreme Court. And so I requested every member of a licensed broadcasting staff to fill out a form for filming and recording of these proceedings. And the only provisions that I would order the press that no witness or victim who objects to being recorded, you can't record those persons, but I think you know that, right? So that would be the order, and thank you for filling those out. You wouldn't normally do it, but because of the nature of this case and the high public profile, this is what we're doing. Under the rules of give orders of me granting to the court, I will ask her to mark them as the court's Exhibit 1 and to maintain them for the record going forward. Is everyone ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a case that's going to be called?
Your Honor, Rodney Hinton.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett, at the prior hearing before today.
Got to have a seat. Got to have a seat. Have a seat, sir. Sit down. That's my brother.
No, let it go. Get him out, let it go.
Mr. Bennett, was that the defendant's blood brother?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. No.
All right.
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Let's resume order. Can we have the defendant?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to come back to the desk here. We're going to keep watching what's happening. But at the commotion, it sounded like the man who stood up there, it sounded like he said he was the brother of Rodney Hilton Jr. As you saw on the video there, police, deputies, CPD, Hamilton County, and even onlookers, everybody stood up as that man was escorted out of there. We are having some audio issues with the courtroom, but we're going to do our best to listen in.
Yeah, and if you've been to that arraignment room A in Hamilton County Justice Center, you know that this is definitely many more people that are typically in that room. So you see perhaps protesters, family members. We also saw Rodney Hinton Jr. then get escorted back out. So we are waiting to see when this will resume. But of course, we now have audio back. So let's get back into that courtroom as this hearing proceeds.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're here this morning on the issue of, I believe, yes, at the prior hearing, there was a waiver of probable cause, Mr. Bennett.
Judge, I'm going to waive probable cause as a result of being acquainted with the case. I'm waiving probable cause.
Thank you so much. And is there a plea this morning?
It was a plea of not guilty.
Plea of not guilty.
Yes.
Will you enter a plea of not guilty? And thank you. And as to bond, the state has requested a hearing on the issue of bond or bail. You may be aware of that.
I am aware of that.
Who would like to proceed?
I'm proceeding, Your Honor.
Thank you. And would you please speak loud enough so that everyone can hear you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Louder.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead. Is it okay if he begins?
Judge, he has a burden.
Okay. Thank you. Clear and convincing evidence.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we will call our first witness, Officer Beebe. Where would you like Officer Beebe to stand, Your Honor?
If it's okay, he can stand right there. If it's okay with him.
Thank you.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Judge.
So I'm going to swear him in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Officer Beebe, I need you to state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Carl Beebe, B-E-E-B-E.
And Officer, where are you currently employed?
I'm employed as a police officer at the City of Cincinnati Police Department.
Okay, what is your current assignment?
Currently assigned as a detective in the homicide unit.
Okay, in that capacity, were you called upon to investigate a matter that involves the defendant, Rodney Hinton?
I was.
Okay, is Mr. Hinton in the courtroom with us today?
He is.
Should please.
That's the case is stipulated.
Thank you.
Thank you. And identification is one of the elements in this process. And Mr. Nelson, would you advise the court of what statute, if any, that you are operating under this morning?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 2937.222. It's hearings on bail and grounds for denying such.
Thank you.
Okay.
Proceed.
How did you become involved in the investigation involving the defendant?
We were notified of a crash that occurred at 200 West Martin Luther King Drive, where a deputy was struck by a vehicle and at the time had serious injuries.
Okay, and is that location in Hamilton County, state of Ohio, City of Cincinnati?
It is.
Okay, and so where did you begin your investigation? At what point?
Myself and several other detectives, officers, and investigators from a traffic unit went.
Why don't you own apartment buildings? Seriously, why don't you own these big apartment buildings?
801 Lynn Street,
Okay,
which is where the Cincinnati Police Department's criminal investigation section is located.
okay, is that abbreviated CIS?
It is.
Okay, and are you aware of his reason for being at CIS?
Yes.
Okay, and why was he at CIS?
He was at CIS to meet with CPD officials to review body-worn camera footage related to an incident that had occurred the day prior. His son had been shot by a Cincinnati police officer.
Okay, and so was he there to, I guess, to meet with the chief of police?
Yes.
Okay, and so on that date at that time, did he view a video which depicted his son being shot and dying as a result of contact with the Cincinnati police officer?
Yes.
Okay, And then after he viewed that video, and if you know, approximately what time did he view that video?
Shortly after 9:30 that morning.
Okay. And after that, do you know where he went or what he did?
Yes. So he left that the parking lot, I believe, shortly after about 10:30. Based on witness statements, he went to a couple of different locations, and then later returned. I believe about 12:40, he returned to our lot.
Okay. Were you able to speak to the people or some of the people or family members that he was with when he was at CIS?
I was.
Did they describe his emotional state at that time?
Yes. They said that he was upset, was agitated, and they were concerned enough about his emotional state that they did not want him driving, which is why the first time that he was there, when he left, he actually left with family members and not driving the car that he had driven.
Approximately what time did he return to CIS to pick up his vehicle?
I believe it was approximately about 12:40 p.m.
Okay. Were you able to trace his progress from CIS to the point where he came into contact with Deputy Henderson?
We were.
Okay. And can you describe where he left, where he drove from CIS to the location where Deputy Henderson was struck?
Well, he after he came back to pick up the car, he actually left the parking lot, followed by some family members in another car, and then a few minutes later returned to the parking lot at CIS, drove through the parking lot, and then left the parking lot again. That was at approximately, I believe, around 12:49 that he left the lot the last time.
Okay.
And then from there, proceeded up to the Clifton neighborhood, where he was traveling northbound on Clifton Avenue, and then turned to travel eastbound on West Martin Luther King Drive.
Okay. So that's a right-hand turn from Clifton Avenue proceeding northbound on the MLK. Is that correct?
From northbound on Clifton Avenue to eastbound on Martin Luther King.
Okay. And where was Deputy Henderson working on this day?
He was working from the intersection of Clifton Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive. He was working one intersection to the east, where there's a traffic light there.
Okay.
200 West Martin Luther King Drive.
And what was he doing at that traffic light? What were his duties?
He was engaged in traffic control duties. There is a traffic signal box that's mounted on a metal pole at the corner of the intersection. In that box is a cord with a button on the end of the cord. That button can be used to cycle the light. There were graduations at the University of Cincinnati that day, and so there was a large volume of traffic in the area. And so he was controlling traffic and assisting pedestrians crossing the roadway.
And was he in a sheriff's deputy uniform at that time?
He was wearing a sheriff's deputy uniform, wear a hat, and a fluorescent vest, traffic vest.
Okay. And his employment history involves being a deputy with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so he was performing duties as a police officer directing traffic on that day. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's see. Were you able to retrieve any video from any stationary cameras or mobile cameras?
We were.
Okay. And please describe the cameras that you were able to get footage from.
We had one camera that was a fixed camera. That camera captured them turning from Clifton Avenue onto West Martin Luther King Drive. It was pointed in that direction at the time that incident actually occurred. It was redirected to the scene after the deputy was struck.
Mm-hmm.
We also had the opportunity to view camera from a vehicle that was in traffic on West Martin Luther King Drive, approaching the intersection where the deputy was struck, and it did capture the incident.
Okay. And were you also able to speak to people who were in cars that were within 1 car length away from the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. So your information is obtained from a static video camera, actually it's a moving video camera that was moved to the position after the accident, a video camera that was actually in a bus that was actually on MLK that depicts the incident, and testimony from multiple witnesses who were there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. When you pick up the defendant turning eastbound onto MLK, please describe his path of travel.
So initially he was in one of the lanes on the right side. The traffic was slow moving, stop and go traffic. At some point, based on witness testimony, they moved into the left straight lane.
Mm-hmm.
And then a short time later, pulled into the sort of the painted median. It's not a raised median, but a painted median between the two. Eventually that turns into a left turn lane to go into Burnett Woods.
All right. So at that next intersection where Officer Henderson is standing and running traffic, you can take a left to go into Burnett Woods and a right to get to UC where the graduation was happening. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And describe the defendant's path of travel after he pulls into the left turn lane, the one that is used to turn into Burnett Woods.
So based on witness statements, he pulled into that center lane, the median, turns into the turn lane, pulled into there and stopped. There were no other cars in front of him at that point, no obstructions.
Let me ask you a question. When he stopped, was he at the intersection or did he stop short of the intersection?
No, he was well short of the intersection at that point.
Okay. And was traffic moving eastbound while he was sitting there?
No, traffic was stopped.
Okay. But was there room ahead of him for him to pull up to the intersection should he have wanted to turn left?
Correct. There were no vehicles in front of him.
Okay. At that intersection, are there plastic, I guess, for lack of a better word, sticks that are actually in the ground in the pavement to ensure that people travel in the proper lane of travel?
There are further up closer to the intersection, yes.
But he was not up to that point at that time. Would that be correct?
Correct. Not at the point that he stopped.
Okay. Tell me what he did after he stopped.
So based on witness statements as well as the video, the vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic when there was no longer traffic to obstruct his travel. Crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic, went to the left of those little stanchions that are in the middle of the roadway, into the oncoming lanes, through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, struck Deputy Henderson and the metal utility pole on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Okay. Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
And is that the conclusion our accident reconstructionists have come to at this point?
At this time, yes.
Okay. And does it appear from your review of the video that he headed straight for Deputy Henderson?
Yes.
Okay. And did any of the multiple witnesses that you spoke to and the people that were in the vehicles that were surrounding him, the people that were on scene, did anyone indicate that any attempt to slow down or deviate his path straight to Deputy Henderson?
No, everybody said that he accelerated and was traveling at a high rate of speed all the way up until the time that he struck Deputy Henderson.
Okay. And when he struck Deputy Henderson, was the deputy injured?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened after he struck Deputy Henderson?
Deputy Henderson was launched several feet through the air. He came to rest in a turn lane several feet from where the collision occurred.
Okay. And what happened in the immediate aftermath after he struck Deputy Henderson? Where was the defendant? Who was on scene? What happened?
The defendant was located inside the Ford Focus. There were some other officers that arrived almost immediately, as well as
Is that gunfire I'm hearing? Well, it ain't popcorn. You think I'm...
Hey, Savage family, sad situation, man. Once again, it's a sad situation. That cop had to suffer for another cop killing the man's son, man, in order for him to get ran over. The cop shot his son. I guess he was like, he don't care no more. He just blacked out and wanted to kill the first cop he saw, man. And unfortunately, it was that cop who just retired, man. He had just retired like a month ago. But we're gonna get back into this video. We're gonna see where this ends, man. Let me know in the comments below if a cop would have killed y'all son, would y'all would have took it out on another cop? Would y'all would have retaliated, or would you would have let justice handle everything? About to get back into this video.
Okay, as we try to get audio back in the courtroom, there some
attempted life-saving measures.
Oh, we got the audio back.
However,
Let's go back
he,
inside the court.
Succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased a couple hours later.
And in addition to the people that you spoke to that were on the scene and the vehicles that were surrounded, did homicide speak to other witnesses as well?
Yes.
Okay. And from your investigation and from speaking to those witnesses, what is your conclusion as to what happened on that day?
We believe, based on our investigation, the witnesses that we spoke to up to this point, that Hinton left our office and was traveling and came upon Deputy Hinton and made an intentional decision to drive directly at Deputy Hinton and strike him and kill him.
Okay. And based upon that investigation, did you decide to charge the defendant with aggravated murder?
We did, yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, Judge.
Mr. Bennett, you may cross-examine the witness if you like.
Just first of all, I would like to offer on behalf of the Hinton family and myself, prayers to the Hinton family, prayers to the family of Larry Henderson, the fallen deputy. And I thank the court for having a fair assembly in the courtroom today. With that, I'd like to ask you a few questions, not a lot. Okay. You said that Mr. Hinton left the police station around 12:30. CIS.
He initially left around 10:30.
Came back and then left again.
And then returned a couple hours later, yes.
And you said that individuals that know were saying that he appeared to be agitated, upset, and so forth, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't know.
Hey, chat, they gotta get some better cameras, man. They cameras buffering, man, messing up the video. But we finna get back into this video, man. Hopefully this video straighten up.
The source of that that agitation or that distraughtness, do you? If you know, you might not. I don't think you do, but you have to answer the question.
The source of the agitation?
Yes.
Well, I would assume it was because of the, I believe it was because of the video and the reason that he was at CIS.
Do you know the mental history of Mr. Hinton?
No, I do not know detailed mental history.
Right. Do you know whether or not he's had any medically documented infirmities or conditions? Do you know that? You don't, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay. And then you also don't know his state of mind at the time of the incident near Vernon Woods and Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. You don't know that either, do you?
Based on the facts and circumstances surrounding it, I think we.
You think he intentionally did it?
And the evidence, yes.
Yeah. Are you familiar with acts of someone that is not in their right mind when they commit a criminal act?
If you know,
Can you clarify your question, please?
are you familiar with the characteristics of acts
I'll
of
object to that one.
You'll object to that?
question,
Okay.
yes.
You don't know whether or not he was in his right mind at the time that he encountered Deputy Henderson on Martin Luther King Drive in Vernon Woods. You don't know that, do you?
Object again, Your Honor.
Okay, so once again, still having some audio issues in the courtroom, but
That has to be
Clyde
excluded.
Bennett on cross-examination. Let's go back inside.
What was his condition at the time he committed this offense? It's stated in the statute. It's 2937.22. I believe it's C3, the character, physical, and mental condition of the defendant or the accused. That's at issue.
I believe that the witness indicated that his opinion was that the act was intentional.
Right. And in making that opinion about whether or not it's intentional, you need to know the mindset or the mens rea of the person that you're claiming intended to do this. Was he in his right mind? That's relevant with respect to your bond
I'll
determination.
sustain the objection.
From the state, Your Honor, also, just for clarification, it's not the time of the event, it's the time of the history of the accused. So the actual intent at the time of this offense has no bearing upon this court's decision.
I'm not saying that my client didn't try to intend to do this. That's not my position. One more question. You don't know his mindset at the time of the act, do you? Yes or no?
Like I stated previously, with the facts and circumstances surrounding it and him driving up until that point and all the circumstances that surround him leaving our office and from talking to witnesses, he was emotionally distraught and they were concerned about him driving and they were concerned about his safety.
No further questions, Judge.
Mr. Bennett, thank you for your questioning. Does the state have any further witnesses?
No further witnesses, no further questions.
Please.
No.
Mr. Bennett, under the statute, the defendant has a right to speak if he wishes at this hearing.
We're not going to exercise that right, Judge. I'm going to speak on behalf of Mr. Hinton.
Thank you, but you do recognize that under the statute that the court must allow the defendant to make a statement at this hearing if he wishes.
That is my understanding, and that's a right I don't wish to exercise on behalf of my client. I don't want him to speak.
Is that right, Mr. Hinton? All right, thank you so much. State have any further witnesses?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, shall we move to argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the position of the state is that, what's the state's position as to bond?
Judge, as the bond, in closing, what I would say is that pursuant to 2937-222, we have shown proof that it is evident that the defendant committed the crime. We have an investigation that includes information from multiple witnesses who are within 1 car length away or less from the defendant, and 2 videos depicting his path of travel, one of which shows the collision. This evidence and testimony suggests that people were worried about him when he left the police department, having just viewed a video of the death of his son.
Hey, chat. To be honest, man, if somebody was to kill my kid and that was like my only kid, I would be out of my mind too. I wouldn't know what to do. Like I say, you gotta decide for yourself what you'll do. Let the law take care of it, or you take care of it. But I don't believe in violence, so I don't know, man. That's a tough situation, man. It's a tough situation, but at the same time, that officer didn't deserve to die. He wasn't an officer that pulled the trigger. Just crazy, man. Especially the way he got taken out, like a month after your retirement. That's crazy, bro.
He was observed by witnesses and video cameras as he operated his vehicle and drove towards where the police officer was. The evidence suggests that he proceeded eastbound on MLK until Deputy Henderson came into his view. The evidence then shows that he deviated from his eastbound course, pulled into the leftmost turn lane and waited. And before he deliberately ran in front of the police officer. So the car that they were trying to call the officer.
Okay, so yeah, we're having a little trouble back and forth. Obviously, being there in room A, lots of walls, lots of concrete.
Demonstrates prior
We got it back. Let's go back
calculation,
to the
design, and
sideboard.
premeditation in causing the death of Deputy Henderson, who was a law enforcement officer engaged in the course of his duties. Because of the extremely random nature of this attack, it renders an unpredictability to the defendant that cannot be accounted for with a bond when he was released, because we have no way of preventing him from removing an EMU device, no matter what kind of bond you give him, and gaining access to another vehicle and doing this again. Defendant in his current state is a giant mental health question mark and is a clear and present danger and poses a substantial risk of physical harm to law enforcement officers and to the public, as evidenced by his conduct on the 2nd of May. There are no other alternative means or conditions of release that will adequately protect the public. The weight of the evidence, the nature and circumstances of the offense charged as being an offense of violence, the defendant's mental condition, and the nature and seriousness of his danger to police officers and others in the community strongly suggest that denying bond is both in the interest of the community and in the interest of the defendant. Additionally, Section 2937.222 provides a mechanism in which the Court of Common Pleas can review and modify your order should new evidence come to light if there is a change in circumstances, as that can affect bond. But at this point, Your Honor, we believe that we've read our burden pursuant to 2937.222 and ask that you deny the defendant bail.
Hey, Chad, ain't gonna lie, man. I wouldn't give his ass bond neither, to be honest. You just ran over an officer. You ain't in your right state of mind. An officer killed your son. So you get out, you ain't in your right mind. You're gonna go kill other officers. You're gonna try to take out as many as you can. So they right about the bond situation. But hey man, ran over a cop, bro. It's crazy.
What do you have from the state with respect to the personal history or criminal background of the defendant this morning?
Your Honor, the defendant.
And this is required as a review under the statute, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So, Your Honor, in 2017, there was a domestic violence charge where the defendant pled guilty of disorderly conduct. In 2019, there was an assault conviction out of Hamilton County. And then I believe there was an assault conviction out of Middletown from 2023 and an aggravated menacing conviction out of Middletown from that same court. So that's his prior history.
Thank you. And what about any known community contacts that you're aware of?
I'm not sure what you mean by that, Your Honor.
His family background, do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Let me turn, have you finished your argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me turn to Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, anything as to bond or bail under the Constitution?
Judge, I'm going to address the factors that are set forth in the statute for no bond and also Criminal Rule 46. Before I do that, in summary, what I would like to do, I want to make certain that this young man is treated as a mentally ill person and not as a cop killer. I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he was not in his right mind. And I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person that commits a crime under the auspices, control, and authority of a mental defect in the condition. That's what we have in this case.
Do you plan to file a request for a competency evaluation after this hearing?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
This court is not empowered to do that today.
That's why I was going to ask for it.
If the matter is referred to the grand jury for consideration and further indictment, you may have the opportunity to make the request at that time.
I wasn't making a request at this time. And
I was simply educating the public.
Come on, Channel 5, man. Y'all gotta update y'all equipment, bro. Come on, man. All this buffering, in and out, losing audio. Come on, upgrade y'all equipment, man. It is 2025. Update the equipment, please. Can't even get a good video because y'all equipment keep buffering, man. God damn.
And letting the public understand what this process is and when certain things can and cannot occur. So the court would not hear a competency referral today.
That's my understanding.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Henton's 39 years.
And if you're going to behave in a manner that's consistent with the
Okay, we're still trying to get back into the courtroom. It's been going in and out, doing our best. A lot has come out over the last few minutes, but right now,
He lives in
I think we have him back. Let's go back inside the
He lives
courtroom.
in Hamilton County.
All right. Okay. All right. I thought
He
it was
has lived in
Middletown.
Middletown in the past, but he lives in Hamilton County now.
For how long? Can you share that?
Several years.
All right. Go ahead.
Strong family ties. His family retained me. He lives with his significant other and his children. He does have limited contacts with crimes of violence. I think there was several low-level misdemeanors. Other than that, he doesn't have a felonious criminal record and doesn't have a significant history of failure to appear. I think there's one failure to appear. I conducted my investigation and I couldn't find out where that one failure to appear came from. But what I agree with the state is that there is a giant mental health issue. And I would ask that whatever bond, whether it's a no bond or a monetary bond, I would treated mentally. He's receiving no treatment at Claremont County, mentally or physically. I've got a problem with that. And I would ask the court to take that into consideration with respect to the judgment here or decision on bond. That's all I have at this point.
Thank you. The state have anything final to say?
Judge, the only thing I would say is that I don't really have an objection to him getting mental health treatment in jail. That's fine. I mean, mental health treatment is good. But as far as what we need to show is, number one, the proof is evident or the presumption is great that he committed the offense with which he is charged. We know that because we have video and witnesses who saw it. Number two, he poses a substantial risk of serious physical harm to persons or the public. And
Why don't you repeat that first paragraph again that you just read?
The proof is evident or the presumption is great that the accused committed the offense to which he is charged.
Hold it. I will make a finding under revised code section 3927.222 by clear and convincing evidence that the crime was committed as you described, based on the information presented this morning. Next.
Next would be that he poses a substantial risk of serious physical harm to any person or to the community.
Mr. Bennett, you want to address that?
I think in light of his mindset at the time that this happened, I was physically present with the defendant over the weekend. I think he has mental issues. I think it's a long way of answering your question. I think the conduct in question is classic mental illness, criminal conduct. It's always intentional, it's bold, and it's conspicuous.
I don't know that.
That's a hallmark sign that somebody is not in their right frame of mind, no attempt to deceive, no attempt to hide what they did, because they think that what they're doing is right, and they think that what they're doing is right because they're not in their right frame of mind. They don't understand the lawful set of conduct. So yes, I'm agreeing with Mr.
Hey, bro, Jit look like Samuel Jackson. Get these snakes off this motherfucking plane.
Cannot recall either an experience or outside experience, a case that I've ever seen like this. And based upon the state's comments, I find it very difficult to figure out how there could be any decision based on what they said that would protect the public and the defendant under these circumstances. This is a most unusual case.
I don't disagree with you, Judge, with respect to the no bond.
Thank you so much. I believe that Mr. Bennett said that he agreed with the court with the issue relating the mental health treatment. I talked to the officers before. They have assured me, and I'll ask the state to make the assurance that he's continued to be held at Courtroom County, to be kept in a safe way, and that he will be watched over in a way that would not relate to any self-harm based upon what everybody has said today.
Judge, I don't want to. I don't want the court to misconstrue, or the public for that matter, my comments about his stay in Claremont County. Claremont County is doing a great job. I met with him this weekend. He was in a flap jacket. They're making certain that he doesn't harm himself or anyone else. I just want to make sure, add that component of mental treatment.
You understand that as an impartial jurist deciding these issues between the defendant and his rights and the state and its presentation, that the court's required to make these inquiries.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Based upon the officer of testimony, it's Officer Beebe.
Yes, Judge.
And all the facts and circumstances surrounding his testimony this morning, the comments of the state, that there will be an order of remand with no bond. Please assure the safety of the defendant and any mental health treatment that can be granted. No bond, and we'll give, if the officers want to stay, and the public, you're welcome to stay through the other hearings. Otherwise, if you are concerned about this issue, you may leave, and then we'll take just a 5-minute break.
When you're ready.
Thank you. All right, let me finish this order.
May 12th.
5/12 for your.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Okay, you've just been taken out of the courtroom. Judge Tyrone Yates, after about a 20-minute hearing or so, says that Rodney Hinton Jr., the man accused of killing Deputy Larry Henderson, will have no bond until a trial date can be set. But he did say any mental health services that can be provided to him can be allowed.
Correct, because high-profile defense attorney Clyde Bennett used that as a main argument in this case, trying to get some type of bond. You saw the prosecutor also questioning an investigator in this case, laying out exactly the events that happened from the investigator's perspective on May 2nd, when police say that Rodney Hinton Jr. had crashed his car, hitting former Hamilton County deputy Larry Henderson.
Yeah, and a lot of things come out here. Officer Carl Beebe with Cincinnati Police, a detective there, he started laying out some timelines and some events that we haven't heard just yet. They talked about Hinton Jr. coming to CIS to view that video of his son, Ryan Hinton, being shot and killed by Cincinnati police in an incident on that Thursday. He left with family, came back to retrieve his car around 12:45, was agitated, upset based on people they spoke to. People saw him in the parking lot, and they were able to track him down to that intersection over on MLK, right near the campus, right near graduation. And that's when they have video from a mounted camera, video from a bus that shows Hinton Jr. in the car intentionally, no skid marks left behind, pointing and aiming at the deputy, and the deputy being thrown several feet and also hitting a light pole there. So a tragic situation all around, but no bond for Hinton Jr.
No bond. And that judge even mentioning that perhaps in this case, in this specific hearing where you're looking to see if someone is being held without bond, mental health wouldn't play a role in the defense of something like that. We could potentially see that defense going forward as this case goes forward, though.
Okay, so Ryan Hamrick, he is in the courtroom. We'll have much more on this coming up at noon and also in our evening shows. But once again, Rodney Hinton Jr., the man allegedly responsible for the death of Deputy Larry Henderson, formerly of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, no bond until trial.
And just a note here, going forward, the defense attorney also mentioned that that competency hearing would be something he would look for, a competency evaluation for his client, Rodney Hinton Jr.
Okay, we're done here, and we'll be back here at noon.